So May 7th, Friday, this is the last day of new content for Asia. Okay, Monday we're reviewing for the quarterly. Tuesday we're taking the quarterly. And then we'll move on to the testing season here at Piedmont, and we'll do financial literacy. We'll talk about finances. We'll talk about capital. We'll talk about interest rates, all these different things that we'll get into through a digital simulation. Okay, so just hang with me as we do that once testing season starts. Okay, but here we go. I didn't give y'all a starter today. I should have given y'all a starter today. But let's look at the summary page anyway. Summary page, all right? We're going to continue to analyze current events in Myanmar. Okay, we talked about that yesterday quite a bit. Okay, unit is Asia. Statement of inquiry, governance throughout time and place impacts expression. Synchronous work, I should say no starter, no May 7th starter, which I should have given y'all one because I could have assessed whether y'all did your work yesterday. Okay, no May 7th starter. We're going to continue. You know what? Yeah, we're going to continue the slideshow in class, and then we'll do the ticket out the door. Your synchronous work, asynchronous work is to complete it, 143. So y'all should complete 143 today, okay, for asynchronous work. You should be able to get that done within, well, I don't know, because we're going to, within the asynchronous time today. So let's move on, y'all. 143, let's review quickly. Everybody go to 143, both in your digital notebook and in Canvas, please. Okay, please do that now so you can pull up both of those at the same time. Your digital notebook and Canvas, please. And I'll give you all about 30 seconds or so to do that. And then we'll move forward.
What is there to fear? I'm from Black America, it's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere. Just get up every time somebody knock you down and celebrate in front of people like they're not around. And if they try to build a wall to keep you balling out of bounds, use the bench they told you want to keep the fences knocking down. Shout out to the Tinos, cause hustling ain't illegal. We bring it to the east of the Father, we all are equal. But if part of they gon' progress and stopping us get to see. Ask the crowd, do one of y'all disagree? Just to chop the city, though, but represent the county until you vote.
Let's move forward here. So we looked at this political cartoon. Hopefully this political cartoon makes a little bit more sense to you after what we talked about yesterday. Okay, we looked at a quiz, okay, a brief 5-question quiz that was just for fun, not a grade. And you're supposed to write down one thing you learned in your digital notebook on 143. We then watched the video, okay? We then watched the video of the PE instructor recording a dance routine for her class, I believe. At the same time, she was unaware the military came and took out the current leader of Myanmar and ousted her, got rid of her, put her in house arrest, and put their military leader in control for a year. Okay, for a year is the kind of this emergency time frame. We clicked here. We looked at this infographic, which I love. I love these infographics. Very informative. Talked about just like when it happened, the impact, people banging pots and pans in protest, not being able to go out, having a curfew. The international reaction is mostly not getting involved, but saying that they do not approve the military coup. But China's saying, hey, everybody just stay out of it. They're not even stating what should happen. Okay, they're saying international community should stay out of it. Everybody else is saying that should not happen, but they've not necessarily acted on it. They've just said we don't agree with it. Okay, so that takes us to slide 6, I believe. And I set up an account. So y'all hang with me here. So everybody just watch what's on the screen and I guess just watch what's on the screens here. Okay, I'm going to go through these and you're going to choose one image from this link. Maybe you have access to it now. I don't know. You get so many free accounts or free articles. Maybe you still have access to one. If not, I have a paid account. So I'm going to go through and show you through what I'm doing here. Okay, you're going to choose one image from the link provided or on the slide that you find memorable. Answer the prompts on the right side. Why did you choose this image? What about it caught your attention or intrigued you? Okay, that's the first set of questions. And I listed all these out in your digital notebook, okay, in order. What do you think is going on in this photo? What do you see that makes you say that? What is your reaction to what you see? And then how is seeing the coup and its aftermath from various perspectives different from learning facts about it? Okay, so here we go. Let's look at it now. All right, so here we go. So here, I'm going to go over some of these images here, okay? And y'all can take a look and pick one, okay, for what you're going to do for this portion for slide 6 and the digital notebook, okay? So if you take a look, right, here's some images, and it's a good article too. So here was the previous leader, okay, what things are like before. All right. People started protesting, okay? People took to the streets in Myanmar against the military coup. It's kind of a quick summary of that one. Again, people taking to the streets, people protesting, people wearing red. We saw that a lot of people changed their profile pictures on Facebook and social media to red, okay? Here's the military. It's just some members of the military. We'll keep going here. A military helicopter there. Okay, they're on the news, on TV, okay, talking about the coup. All right, you just have the whole military out on the streets, trying to find some good. Again, people protesting, people out and about. Okay. All right, maybe this is after a curfew. That can't be it though, can it? Yeah. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Okay. Take a look. Oh, there's some better images on this. I want to see some better. All right. Why don't y'all pick this one? Something like this. Okay. Medical students gathered during an anti-coup protest, February 21st. Okay. You're just going to have lots of different, and you can look up some other images as well of the coup yourself and answer those questions. So let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. So at this point, look up some images of the coup and take a look at this right here, right? Slide 6. Why did you choose this image? What about it caught your attention or intrigued you? What do you think is going on in this photo? What do you see that makes you say that? What is your reaction to what you see? And how is seeing the coup and its aftermath from various perspectives different from learning the facts about it? Okay. So look up your own, okay, at this point. I think that would be the best thing for y'all to do to explore this a little bit. Look at photos and images of it and describe what you see by answering those questions on slide 6. Okay, go ahead and do that now. I will give you a couple minutes to do that. Thanks.
This cannon, know I got to tell them outie. It's all about the effort and I'm effortlessly pressure. If I'm preaching to the choir, know they bound to get the lecture. And with my folks around me pushing envelopes and boundaries, so you won't only hear me where you found me. I'm somewhere asking questions like, can I be afforded the most? Better answer me with more than a no. I'm trying to tell you. Never not getting enough. In this life that I'm leaving, and all, I believe me. Y'all know I ain't leaving, I'm posted like. In this life that I'm leaving, and all, I believe. Y'all know I ain't leaving, I'm posted like. This is for the county in the area surrounding DC, Maryland, and Virginia.
Now what you willing to let die first, yo? Your pride and your freedom. The story of my life in a conflict. It's like I follow my dreams behind posted slide in the DM on this mic. What I'm trying to accomplish. I used to do it for the fist bumps and applauses, but caring about respect started making me nauseous. You walk into a room and Bama speak to you cautious, like employees trying to figure out who the boss is. So now we're just kicking for the most divine, working overtime, sitting with an open bottle, looking for an open mind. Trying not to be aggressively jaded, cause I find myself just getting faded. And I know that ain't quite me. I step up for whatever it might be. An RSVP when inspiration invite me. Cause who else gonna look out for those who look like me? Another disenfranchised boy in a white tee? Come on, man.
Never not getting enough. In this life that I'm leaving, and all, I believe me. Y'all know I ain't leaving, I'm posted like. In this life that I'm leaving, and all, I believe. Y'all know I ain't leaving, I'm posted like. This is for the county in the area surrounding DC, Maryland, and Virginia, know I'm with you. is love. I give it how I get it, I can never get enough. Sympathy to enemies, cause hate ain't in my blood. And if you can't relate, you're giving up. I'm trying to make the most of it though. Getting close is a no, want nothing lesser than a yes, cause it's supposed to be so. The cost of nothing too low, my expectations too high. I'd rather die than be complacent with the way that it go. Apathy is a disease and we just steady sharing needles. Unaffected people curry evil. Ease is what we know, we gotta raise the bar though. The sorrows of the day will give away to what tomorrow. So what's a week of paid leave? And empty promises of hiring. Justify me before retirement. I'm trying to make more in one day than 401k. So give me what you promised to pay, cause it's never enough. Never not getting enough. In this life that I'm leading, and all I believe in. Y'all know I ain't leaving, no post-it life. Never not getting enough. In this life that I'm leading, and all I believe in. Y'all know I ain't leaving.
What's going on in Myanmar?
This is 40 County in the area surrounding DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Know I'm with you.
All right, here we go. We're going to move on to slide 7. Slide 7, you can get slide 6 done on your own, again, based on a photo that you find, an image that you find related to the coup in Myanmar. But this will explain, I believe, a lot more. So here we go.
What's going on in Myanmar? Hundreds of thousands of locals are crowding the streets. Bodybuilders are protesting the military. The nation's leader, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, has been arrested for walkie-talkies, and it all started with this. On Monday the 1st of Feb, while filming her morning routine, this instructor accidentally captured the beginnings of a military coup. You see those vehicles in the background? They're actually on their way to arrest political leaders and take control of the government. The military announced a 1-year state of emergency, and that power would be handed over to this guy, Military General Min Aung Hlaing. Soldiers took to the streets, internet services were cut in large parts of the country, social media platforms were blocked, and in some places curfews were introduced and gatherings of more than 5 people were banned. So, why is all of this happening? The military says that the country's elections held in last November were rigged, and that there were signs of terrible fraud, even though they haven't been able to produce any credible evidence. Many aren't buying it, and say this is just a power grab by the military.
This outrageous assault on the people of Myanmar by the military cannot be allowed to stand.
Inside the country, there have been widespread protests, and locals have found some creative ways to get their messages across. We've seen people banging pots and pans, singing in the streets, and even bodybuilders taking their shirts off. The reasoning behind some of the political arrests has been questioned too. Myanmar's leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been accused of illegally importing communications equipment into the country because 6 walkie-talkies were found at her home. If you think that sounds like a strange reason to arrest the leader of your country, you're not alone.
There's little doubt that the game plan is to try and silence Aung San Suu Kyi, to prevent her having a political future in the country, and to prevent her having any influence on future elections.
All in all, it's a pretty complex situation, so to get a better understanding of what is actually going on, you need to know a bit about Myanmar's complicated history with democracy, and the fact that this isn't the first time that the military seized power. Myanmar, or as it was known back then, Burma, spent 124 years under British rule. In the years after World War II, the country finally gained its independence as the Union of Burma. Unfortunately, there was unrest and fighting between the many different ethnic and cultural groups that make up the country. And in 1962, the military staged a coup, scrapped Burma's constitution, and created a military junta. What followed was a one-party state, headed by the BSPP. It wasn't until 1988 that the BSPP had its power truly challenged by a nationwide protest movement. Started by students, the movement spread to hundreds of thousands of protesters, and Aung San Suu Kyi emerged as a leading voice. Aung San Suu Kyi is the daughter of Aung San, known as the father of the nation and a key player in the push for independence from British rule. However, within a few months, the protests were crushed, thousands of people were killed, and the military once again seized power. Aung San Suu Kyi was placed under house arrest, where she remained for 15 years. During that time though, she still did continue to push for change, with her political party, the National League for Democracy, eventually earning a Nobel Peace Prize in 1991. It wasn't until the late 2000s that the military announced it was going to start moving towards a more democratic system of government. However, the 2010 election was surrounded by accusations of interference and fraud. The election was actually boycotted by Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD, and perhaps unsurprisingly, the military was replaced by a pro-military party called the USDP. So, not exactly the open and free elections everyone had been hoping for.
They were in charge between 2011 and 2015. During that time, the military still, effectively controlled the country.
It wasn't until 2015 that Myanmar actually held its first free and open elections, and the NLD won in a landslide. The constitution actually blocked Aung San Suu Kyi from becoming president because she has kids who are citizens of another country, so she had to settle for the title of state councillor, but was still recognised by pretty much everyone as Myanmar's actual leader. However, even with such a big share of the vote, the NLD still had to deal with the military having a lot of political power. The military only agreed to share power because the new constitution guaranteed that they'd keep control over lots of key areas. Plus, they would also be guaranteed 25% of the seats in parliament, no matter what.
The military has basically used their control of the parliament to sort of block reforms, and also they still maintain control over defence and immigration, and also the judiciary as well.
And this brings us to some of the actual reasons why the military may have staged this coup. For years now, Aung San Suu Kyi has been talking about removing the military from parliament and taking away their political power. Winning by such a huge margin in the election put her and the NLD closer to that goal than ever before. Not only that, the current military leader, and the guy who is now in charge of the entire country, has been pretty open about wanting to be president.
The military was not happy with the outcome of the elections. The initial hope of the commander-in-chief was that the military-backed political party would potentially get up to a third of seats, and if so, he would potentially have become president.
According to the experts, it's also about protecting himself from the things that he did in his role as military leader. He's been called one of the most wanted men on the planet for his role in the brutal crackdown of the Rohingya people in Myanmar, a Muslim minority group that mostly lives in the Rakhine region. Over the past 10 years he's been in charge of the military, they've reportedly targeted and killed thousands of Rohingya people and burnt more than 200 of their villages to the ground, resulting in hundreds of thousands more fleeing across the border to Bangladesh. Without the military holding political power or the leader of the country protecting him, he would be open to some serious consequences for his actions. It's important to note that the biggest recent military crackdown actually happened in 2017, while Aung San Suu Kyi was in power. She faced a lot of international criticism for not standing up to the military's treatment of the Rohingya people, although she is still incredibly popular within Myanmar. So, what happens next? Tension between the military and protesters has been growing. Security forces have opened fire on citizens, armoured vehicles have been rolling into major cities, and the military has been cutting off the internet again as it tries to squash the protests. Aung San Suu Kyi has also been charged with another crime, breaking the country's natural disaster law, which will allow the military to keep her detained for longer. Police are also said to be looking for famous activists and protest leaders, although there have been some cases of police breaking ranks to join the protest movement. Plus, the pressure from the international community has been getting louder.
The military must relinquish power it seized and demonstrate respect for the will of the people of Burma. I'm announcing a series of actions that we're taking to begin imposing consequences on the leaders of the coup.
With both the military and protesters looking like they won't be backing down anytime soon, we'll just have to wait and see what happens next, and whether Myanmar can get its long journey to democracy back on track. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this explain.
All right, so I know that was long and a little complicated, but bottom line is they were moving potentially more towards a democracy where the military had less control, and so potentially that could be the reason why the military said, hey, we can't let that happen. We're going to go ahead and stage a military coup and take control and put our current leader in house arrest. All right, so that's currently where they stand. Many citizens have died as a result of the protests and the crackdowns on the protesters, the pro-democracy protest. Okay, and that's where they are now. So what I want y'all to do is go on to, again, 143 and answer these questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you need to rewatch any portion of that video, you can do so. And then when you're done with that, I want you to move on, please, to slide, I don't mean to do that, to slide 8, where bottom line is you're going to draw an illustration to represent what you've learned. Okay, so right here, sketch and tell, and I made a spot for that in the digital notebook. Review what you learned, create a summarizing diagram, chart, illustration. Okay, you can use anything, doesn't matter to me what you use to do that. You could even create it on a piece of paper and draw it, take a picture of it and put it in. But ultimately, I want that on page 143 in your digital notebook right here, illustration, and then an explanation to go along with it. Okay, I will give y'all 4 minutes to complete slide 7. And then during asynchronous work, you could complete slide 8. Okay, 4 minutes to complete slide 7 and then move on to slide 8, which you'll probably have to do during asynchronous time. Minutes, go. right, y'all, let's go to, so again, make sure that is your asynchronous work, is to make sure slides 7 and 8 are completed. Everybody, let's go to the ticket out the door, please. Ticket out the door. All right. Let's see. Make sure you do May 7th. So that link for the 143 slideshow goes back to the previous day. So make sure you do a May 7th ticket out the door. I'll double check and confirm that everything is accurate and what it should be in just a minute. We'll go ahead and take that now. I assume it'll be the same thing as it always is. Objective. Then the asynchronous work at the end, the unit, and the statement of inquiry. All right. So please take that now. And then hang with me just for a second. Yep, there we go. There it is. Just the correct answers are in there. And there as well. Be careful with question 4, y'all. Be careful with question 4.